I guess on my hair, she looked all right. And with that actually sitting there like this creams, and I had to have them, sis. All 5 of them. Here, I just had, we're gonna discontinue it, but I had to pick up their Book of Shadows, honey. Color grade makes cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Why so serious? Alright you guys, let's go ahead and get into today's video. I'm quite sure you've already seen the title, but today I'm going to be talking about my makeup drawer of shame. Now first, it ended up becoming that because I am someone who's been collecting makeup for quite a while, and unfortunately, you may buy some things at one point in time and then things come out later about the company or the creator of the company that you didn't know at the time, and so you realize, one, I have to stop supporting them. But I'm someone I'm not throwing away my good makeup. We're just gonna put it like that. And today I think I'm gonna make this an unedited video simply because, one, I'm not really worried about these brands getting good press and good views and things like that. I just really wanted to show you all what was in the drawer simply because you all asked. And before I show you everything that was actually in the drawer, I want to show you some of the things that possibly was supposed to be in there but didn't quite make it, because one of the brands, they technically no longer have to be in the drawer, but Kvd Vegan Beauty, honey, back when it was Kat Von D, I had to get rid of it. I had to put that stuff in there because some stuff was coming out about Kat Von D, but I am someone who was an avid and loyal Kat Von D subscriber. I mean, supporter and fan of the makeup, of the artistic work, like everything, the packaging, the formulas, it was all amazing. And so I told myself, when I first put everything in there, the only things you can keep out, excuse me, the only things that you can keep out are things you truly use on an everyday basis. I mean, if every time you reach to do your makeup, you don't use those products, you cannot use them or keep them out. So one of those things that have always stayed out is this one here. This is her contour powder in the shade Subconscious. I absolutely love it. I use it every time I do my makeup. So I did buy an individual of this one here. I have several more of these, so I'll show you all those later. But I absolutely love this. So this sits right here on this table with me. Another Kat Von D product that I ended up pulling out of there is this brush here. This is the number 25 brush. I absolutely love this to set and bake underneath the eyes. Put it right, ooh, I don't know why I got the hiccups all of a sudden. But I can use this, put this right underneath the eyes to set, bake. I absolutely love this. Another item and another brand, they not in there no more, but at one point in time they was, is Morphe. And one of my Morphe products that I always keep out is this here. This is my Morphe M421 brush. I use this any and every time I cut my crease, so this is one of those products I kept out. With Morphe, the reason I put them in a drawer is because I went to repurchase the Jaclyn Hill Volume 1 palette. Found out they had reformulated. And when I tell you, I've purchased and repurchased that palette probably more than any other palette in my collection. Either that or the Huda Beauty Warm Browns. Those used to be staples in my freelance kit. So I've gone through several of them. And for Morphe and Kat Von D, honey, I want to slide over to the side just so y'all can see this. I always sit right there, and these were the items that did not go in that drawer. Right here, I got my Jaclyn Hill Morphe brushes. Y'all never see these sticking up because they had right behind me. I never wanted nobody to see them, but you know what, Morphe, I done finally got it in my head that, you know what, we're not going to stay mad over that Jaclyn Hill palette because we still got one, but what else we got? Back here from Morphe, they Pride brushes. I did not get the palette. I just kept telling myself I really didn't need it, and now I am a little upset I don't have it. But Pride brushes, you know, I'm a brush collector, so I had to grab these. And what else we got back here from Morphe? Oh, all of my Morphe brushes is right in here. These are the only Morphe brushes I have. Any other ones I either gave away or sold, but these are the handful of few that I still have. It's not many of them, and it's truly no point of even going into details of what they are. I think probably the most exclusive one I have is this one here, the M536, because I don't even think they sell this on Ulta anymore. So I was glad to get him before it sold out. Probably another good one would be the Morphe M444 foundation brush. The newest one would probably be this one here, the E63. I got this free with purchase with the foundation, but I took that foundation back because she wasn't worth the coin. And over here, I also have two Kvd brushes. This is another backup 25 brush, and this one is the brow brush, the number 75. But I always keep these back here where you can't see them because they're right behind me. And those items are the items that I keep. Oh, these two from Kvd as well sit out. These are normally in my freelance kit. Anytime I'm doing someone else's makeup, I have a warm version and a cool version. This is the warm version here. As you can see, that middle shade, Subconscious, is the most used on me as well as most clients. This one here is the cool version. Once again, that middle shade is the one that has the biggest pan. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera, but this is the cool tone version. I really do wish they would expand the shade range because personally, I think they can come out with like 2 shades lighter and 3 shades darker, but I ain't running the company. Everything else that we got right here is items that were actually in that makeup cabinet. I call it the makeup drawer or drawer of shame because it's a file cabinet and I have a big old garment on top of it to make sure in order to even get to it, I have to lift that garment up and pull it out that top shelf, which is the hardest one to get to. And I don't know where we're going to start, but let's go ahead since he was the one who brought up the whole drawer of shame, Miss Jeffree Star. First thing we got, the Beauty Killer palette. This was the very first palette that Jeffree Star released, and I picked this up because at the time, it just seemed like all the beauty gurus were just basically prim and proper and nice and kind and respectful, and Jeffree Star just came in and it was just something different. He cursed, he smoked, he just seemed over the top, he did colorful looks, and it was just refreshing to have somebody be different, but we didn't realize it was going to be this different, sis. And so I grabbed this palette even though to me, I never saw this as something I would be able to do a complete cohesive eye look with. It was just completely different. There weren't many color stories out there like this. And when you had shades like Expensive, Vanity, China White, Courtney for Courtney Love, it was like, oh my God, the references, honey. I had to have it. But I think 99% of the time when I've ever come in this palette, the only thing I wanted was this shade Black Rainbow, just to deepen up another look. And that was because I always used it for this palette here, the Blood Sugar. Frank gave me this as a gift when he went to California. I wasn't able to go, but I'm just here to tell you, honey, I understand the hype. Jeffree may not be perceived as the nicest person in the world, but this palette, from the formula to the packaging to the color story, it's just, this is beautiful. And I have to give props where due. So I'm never going to get rid of it. Anytime I've ever used it, I've tried not to use it on camera or anything like that. I know I've never used it on my channel. But in my personal life, 2-3 times a year, ain't no point in lying. This bad boy, she's beautiful. But if you ask me what I'm wearing on my eye, I'll probably tell you why I don't remember. Ooh, somebody else. Problematic, sis. Honey, I remember when I first bought this thing because I'm like, if we're going to go neutrals, we're going to try to keep it soft. We're going to be good. But then them tweets, baby, they be coming back on people. And she like to use the N-word and calling people broke and doing fake apologies and crying and all of that. Miss Laura Lee with that nudie patootie. Honey, the looks and variation you can get off this, now mind you, I ain't gonna lie to you. The lighter your complexion is, the better you gonna like this palette. I think because I'm someone who has skill and experience doing makeup, and I'm someone who, as far as the people of color go, I'm not on the deeper end by any means, I can get this to work for me. If you're somebody like my best friend's complexion, sis, I wouldn't even buy this for her. And honestly, I wouldn't buy it for nobody, and I've never used it on my channel. I really wish I could, but don't see that happening. And truth be told, that nudie patootie too, she even deeper and even richer. I really wish she would have made it the same size as this one, But either way, I can't get it because I already know what I know. And since we were already talking about who? Morphe. Let me move some of these out the way and show y'all some of this Morphe stuff. With Morphe, I've always been back and forth with them because I've always felt as if their stuff was nice, but I've always felt as if it was overhyped because the people who were hyping it up was getting a commission and not telling nobody. It's just, that's what it was. My problem is, why couldn't y'all just leave the original Jaclyn Hill palette alone? That is their most used, their most loved formula, and everybody I know who's ever gotten it has loved it. So I don't see why they would switch it up, why they would change it, why they would do anything. Why they wouldn't use that formula across the board. Like, we'd have had to break Jaclyn off a few coins because I'm telling y'all, y'all missed a moment in time and a moment in history if y'all didn't get this palette, baby. When I tell you, the Morphe Jaclyn Hill 2 palette, one of the greatest of all times. And it took everything in me not to repurchase it again because when I went in store to try to compare swatches, the colors aren't even the same. So to me, switching up the formula was one thing, but to know if I try to recreate the exact same look following these palettes, it's not going to be the same. And that's what sucks because this is like the, third or fourth version of this one that I purchased because that original one, she hit pan so fast. As soon as I got it, that was my daily palette. But I absolutely love this one, and it's to the point where I don't even allow anybody else to use it, and I don't keep it out any longer. I remember I did have it in my freelance video just because the inspiration was always there to remind me of what type of looks I wanted to do, but I don't see me ever using this on anyone else because I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to replace it. And another beautiful palette I got from Morphe, I did do a video on this one because this was before I tried to go back and repurchase that other one and got my feelings broke. I even did a tutorial on this one using this on my sister, and you can check that video out right here. The Volume 2 palette. I personally, this is not like the first one. I can tell you that the formulas are not the same, but I really, really do enjoy this one, and I was truly surprised because the color story on this one sort of reminds me of the Huda Beauty Desert Dust palette. And when I looked at this one, I'm like, I hardly ever use that Desert Dust. With this one, every time I test it out, I am truly in love. And honestly, if they had more palettes with a formula like this, I would probably get along with it because pigments are no issue for me. But I like her. The thing is, I'm still hurt that they couldn't make this formula like that first one. So, day in the book, drawer of shame right now. Another palette that I have from Morphe, and I'm still surprised I've never used this palette because I got this for myself the day that I went on the interview for this particular job that I have now. The Morphe Make and Bank, the 18B, they don't even make this in the cardboard packaging anymore. It's in plastic, which lets you know how long I've had it, but never even got a chance to use it. Never even had a chance to swatch it because she sits in a drawer of shame where I can't reach her. The color story is my jam. Half neutral, half green. Reminds me of the Melt Gemini palette without a black. So it's like everything should be there for you. Everything should be fabulous. But unfortunately, she not. And honestly, like I said, I'm no longer mad at Morphe about the whole situation. But because it's so much other stuff in my makeup collection just spread out all over the place, I really don't have a spot to put it. So she might end up going back into the drawer of shame. And what she really gonna go in there with though, because baby, when I thought I was gonna give Morphe a chance, I'm sitting back like, okay, because anybody who knows me knows I absolutely love kittens, I love unicorns. So when they did this, I had to have it. I had to have it. You could not tell me I wasn't gonna get it because to me, this was getting that Trapper Keeper I never got as a kid, baby, because I always wanted one, but my mother was not having it. I never got a chance to get this palette when it came out and it was just in the rainbow form. I always skipped over it and kept telling myself I was going to go ahead and grab it later. I never did, and then it was gone, and I'm like, the most colorful, most beautiful palette Morphe has ever done, Torrence. You don't have it. Now I have it like this, but then all that information came out about Lisa Frank. I don't want to put her business out there, but basically all we going to say is a lot of people say they donated money to get a Kickstarter or something going. Baby, Lisa Frank took off with that cash, ain't said nothing to them or nobody else since then. So I never used it because I'm like, oh, I wanted it just for collector's items and just to say I finally got it. And by just keeping it in my drawer, Shane, that's exactly what I can do. So she don't come out no more. We don't even just worry about it. We got what? I think it's only 2 brands left. I already told y'all Kvd because I got a bunch of that stuff. So that's going to go last. This next one, baby, they played me. Let me tell you this. I had been collecting this brand for some time now. I think I collected the first 2, if not 3 palettes. Then some drama came out and I'm like, ooh. That got to be fake. It can't be real. Turned to find out it was all real. And I'm thinking, okay, Torrence, we just going to boycott. We not going to do it no more. We not going to buy nothing else. Then they said they got rid of her. So when the Ultra 21 Days of Beauty came through, I bought it all. I got everything on that half price because I had been looking at it, but I knew I wasn't going to get it. And after I bought it all, the drama hit the fan. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, Lime Crime, honey. Lime Crime, I believe the owner's name is Dodear, or the creator or the founder, her name was Dodear. But basically, I think she dressed up as Hitler one year for Halloween, and they brought up a whole bunch of stuff. But basically, we had decided, we ain't buying no more, we're not going to advertise, we're not going to show it. But then with Kvd, we heard they bought her out, you know, she no longer owns the company. So I'm thinking, okay, the makeup is still good. She not there no more. We can go ahead and buy it now since she not there. While we find out, although she's no longer the owner, she's still, I believe, like on the board. She's either like a CEO, a creative director. She's something where she's still making money with the company. She just no longer owns it. And I'm like, you done got me. I thought I was doing the right thing, and now you done got me. So although I have these and I bought them, I don't advertise them, and truth be told, I was so bitter about the fact that they got me out of my coins even at half price. Most of them I still ain't used. So we got right here, this is the Venus 1. I know I've used this one before. She pretty. To me, she sort of reminds me of the Modern Renaissance by ABH. Pretty. The next one here is the Venus 2. Another pretty one, and honestly, she sort of reminds me of like a little subculture going on right here. And not only that, the packaging on these, absolutely beautiful. This is the Venus 1, this is the Venus 2. The packaging is what really got me. The formula, she alright, but she ain't as cute as these are. This is the Venus 3. To me, this sort of reminds me of the ABH Norvina palette. Really beautiful. The Venus Vivid. And just the fact that you said Vivid already, I'm like, hold on, don't play with me. Whoop, look, see? That one had the plastic fall out. That lets you know I never used this one. This one giving me a little, what is her name? Alyssa Edwards vibe going on. You got your Venus Immortalis. When they said this glow in the dark, I had to have it. This is sort of like your sultry palette. I think the plastic gonna fall out on that one too. See, look, yeah, never used this one. And truth be told, everybody that I know has said that the formula on this one sucks, even though the color story is absolutely amazing. But I never used them. I got them just because the collector in me likes to have them all. To me, this is probably the prettiest one of them all. I had to have them, and now I'm sort of upset that I do. This next one, the Lime Crime Prelude Exposed. Beautiful packaging. Oops. See, all those things keep falling out. To me, this one doesn't really remind me of an ABH palette. And honestly, she's really beautiful. I got it just to make sure I had the full collection. But this one, the exposed one, isn't the one I was after. This last one here, the Chroma, out of all of them, I think this one to me just has the prettiest color story on the inside. Packaging outside, once again, is absolutely amazing. Since I know that plastic in there, I'm going to catch her this time. And look at this on the inside. You know I love greens and blacks. So this one here, I think is truly the most amazing one of them all. And I think if for any reason I ever use any of my Lime Crime palettes, Next time, this will probably be the one I will go after, but so far I've only used, I believe, the first two, if not first three. But because I'm bitter about being tricked into spending my money, they sit in the drawer of shame. Last up and not least is my Kat Von D. And honestly, because we know she's no longer part of the brand, I could bring these items back out. But like I said, I got so much makeup and so little place to put things now. Well, I ain't gonna say so little space because I got so much I have little space. But these are the items where it's like, honey, I've had so many good memories with them that I try to keep them there now because I would be pulling this stuff out and never using anything else. Because I'm telling y'all, before everything fell apart, Kat Von D used to have an amazing formula and amazing packaging. Starting off with, where is the ones I'm looking for? Where y'all two bad boys go? I can start off with these right here. Shade Night. Another palette that I had to repurchase because this used to come in cardboard. After that went bad, ended up getting rid of that one, putting it in this plastic one here. I don't care what nobody say. To this day, this is still an amazing formula and an amazing color story. I'm never going to get rid of this. This is one of the first few palettes that I had. Well, not this particular one, but the Shade Light Eye palette was one of those first palettes that I felt comfortable with wearing every single day because everything came out beautiful. So you can't get me to get rid of this. And I believe I decluttered this and somehow managed to find it in a drawer of shame, girl. The Shade Light Eye Glimmer palette, honey. This was trash, trash, trash. The colors look like they will be beautiful, but then you swatch it and it's like, then I'm someone who doesn't mind putting a shimmer in the crease, but even just trying to use this to create looks, it was like nothing about none of these colors ever amazed me. And just looking at it now just, ugh. And I'm not sure what just happened, but my camera cut off, so I had to get up, double check and see where it stopped off at. We was at the Shade Light Glimmer palette, so I have these smaller ones. These were the ones I collected first, and I got them simply because they look like miniature coffins. I thought that was the cutest thing ever. This first one here is the Rust palette, and when they were first releasing these, they were actually nice because you can look and see the color variance in all of the shades. It seemed like with time, the colors got closer and closer together, and it wasn't worth purchasing it because it didn't feel like you got 4 different shades. This Rust one, she was all right, but I didn't use her too often. This Sage one, I used to absolutely love simply because I love greens, and to give me a matte green shade this deep, you couldn't tell me nothing about it. I absolutely loved and probably used this one probably the most out of all of them. The other one that I was really shocked by, and I didn't think I would love it as much as I do, was the Smoke one. This one, initially when I got it, I thought it was just grays and blacks. Come to find out, these two in the middle have a much more blue undertone to them. First time I blended it out and didn't realize that was going to happen, I was shocked. It made that cool tone look that much better. It wasn't the black smoky I was going for, but she was cute. Another one, this is where I start realizing like, yeah, we're not buying these no more because this is the very last one I purchased. I'm just looking at it like, okay, yeah, since y'all taking my money and wasting my time, this one here is the Fawn set, and this one is just a little too light and a little too neutral cool for my skin. I didn't feel as if I was getting 4 completely different shades to work with, so I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Y'all can keep all the rest. And I think since then they've only released 2 or 3 more, but I don't have those, and truth be told, I don't have any intentions on grabbing those. And one of the main reasons why I stopped collecting those in particular is because one of my favorite ones, this one here, this was the plum one. It dropped and broke. The biggest shade in there fell, and when it did, like, you can see it already cracked again. It never pressed completely. I was completely upset, and when I tried to go back and look for another one to repurchase, it was gone, it was sold out, and I couldn't repurchase it, so my feelings was hurt, and this shade just never quite acted right again. So since then, I was like, you know what? Screw Kat Von D and these little coffins. I ain't buying no more. What else we got by Kat Von D that we could show you? Oh, my Shade and Light. My Alchemist Palette. I have this one here. This is one that's still in the package because although the brand might have started going down. This here is probably one of the best things they ever did, and it was close to the end. And I love this thing so much that I bought two. This is the backup. I got one that's depotted in the palette that I completely forgot to go grab, but you wouldn't know that was the shade that it was unless I told you. This one here has never been used. She looks like this. I'm telling you, she's beautiful. The packaging on the outside was stunning, but the shades on the inside were minuscule. But the thing is, you wasn't gonna go through all this product, honey, trust me. It would take forever to go through all of this. The only thing is it would have been a little bit better if you could have, you know, used a big fan brush and used it as a regular highlighter instead of just an eyeshadow. But to me, I was okay with it. What I was not okay with is when they teased us with this little bitty bad boy with the lowercase a on it. And I'm thinking, oh, I cannot wait to see that. They tell us it was going to be an aquamarine shade. So I'm like, oh, baby, let me get that. And then let us know that they switched up the formula and added glitters to it. And I'm like, it was a bestseller the way it was. Why would you change that? So this thing flopped and went to the clearance rack real fast. And that's when we started noticing Kvd liked to switch things up and add glitter to stuff nobody asked for, because in the beginning, she had these. The Metal Crush eyeshadows, baby. These little things were absolutely amazing. They were small individual shadows. Well, I wouldn't even say small because these things are 2.8 grams a piece. Fabulous, fabulous, honey. I have it here in Raw Power. The brand ain't never did nothing like these shadows ever again, and we do not know why they would not bring it back. But this Raw Power was one. This blue one here, Paranoid. Look at that. Just beaming and shining for no reason. This gold one, Thrasher. Honey. This purple one, Danzig. Oh, one of my favorites, one of my favorites. Look at the shift on her. Black number one. I used to think that shimmery blacks didn't matter in the world, but honey, she's gorgeous. Electric Warrior, nice little lime green one. You know anything green I want one of. Static Age, silver. Had to have her. And my personal favorite, Iggy. And I remember when I first got into makeup and I used to wear this shade Iggy, I used to always play the song Fancy by Iggy every time I would put it on. And those bad boys, when she came out with those, we like, oh, you doing the thing. So when she dropped these palettes here, I had to have them. The Metal Matte palette, start off like this. It says metal when you look at it from this angle, but then you can just flip it over and it says matte. One of the biggest, best palettes they ever released, honey. And it had that same formula of all these shadows on top. And that is exactly why I bought all those individuals, because when she released this, I had never seen nothing like it. All I knew was I saw metallic greens, shimmery greens, and a black, and I wanted some. I didn't care what else was going on. I had to have me a little bit of it. And once I got it, it was done. I was set. I love that so much. My dumb self went out and bought the Metal Matte Mini. And guess what? This thing comes with, I believe, 10 shades. And I think 8 of these 10 shades are in this big palette. I bought it just to get those additional little, I think either 7 or 8. I think this shade here, Thunderstruck, Dosed, and Raw Power were the 3 that were not in here, so it was 7 shades. The thing is, I got Raw Power in an individual over here because I was just buying so fast, I didn't realize what I was doing. But I don't think I've ever used this. If I did, it was just literally one time just to say that I really did use it. And it was just a quick neutral look because those shades is in this bigger one, so I just used that big one. This here was just a bag that came free with purchase. You see, I've never even taken it out the plastic because there was no need to. I used to love carrying around bags and totes and things like that. Never got a chance to open this and really don't see me doing so. Oh, those Metal Crush formulas. A lot of people used to love these. And one of her most popular shades was this little one here. Thunderstruck. Many of her fans used to take this shade here, Thunderstruck, buy it in the individual like this, and use it as a highlighter on the face. And they have been saying for years, Kat Von D, please bring out these in highlighter form so we don't have to use that little bitty thing. She told us she had less and we was going to get that formula and everybody was geeked. Baby, and then she dropped these. These are smooth, opaque, creamy, high shine fall eyeshadows. These are chunky, glittery, sparkly messes. If you want to use these as eyeshadows, make sure you got your glitter glue underneath it. Hold on, excuse me, I had a burp. If you want to use these as eyeshadows, get you a glitter glue, put that down first, you good to go. But if you try to use this as a plain eyeshadow or as a highlighter, you're going to be disappointed and you're going to be covered in sparkles everywhere because let me tell you, honey. Where is one? I can show you this. This right here, you can see she looked like she nice and sparkly and full, but I promise you, this is one of the most high shine glittery things that I've ever used as an eyeshadow, and that's when I use it. Anytime I feel as if I want to use a glitter, I can go for these. But this one here, Stephanic, she got a nice blue shift to her. Gorgeous. Gorgeous as an eyeshadow. As a highlighter, once you put it on, she going everywhere. And I promise you, everywhere. This shade here, Rose Shock. Another beautiful one. Got a nice pink shift to her. Gravitron. This one here is a nice deep yellow gold. I think she even has like some pink sparkles to her when she shifts. Gold School. She's like a more white to yellow gold. This is the one they tried to sell individually for like $30, $40 at first, baby. Wasn't nobody buying that. They ended up putting it in this one. This one went on clearance for like $8, and that's when I grabbed her. She pretty as an eyeshadow. She terrible as a highlighter. And just because I wanted the whole set of fat, because you know I don't care about an orange, I grabbed this one here in Gamma Ray. And she got a nice peachy pink shift to her on here. But anything that sort of looks orange to me is something I really don't feel as if I need. And once again, just spending money, bad things too fast. Bought the Extreme Crush Highlighter Palette. This has Gamma Ray and Rose Shock in it, and I got those in there. So guess who was the idiot and bought it in palette form even though I had them in singles? This left to right has, I believe this is Gamma Ray, Helix, and Rose Shock. And where's those? Yeah. Here go Rose Shock. Here go Gamma Ray. Just spending money. But if that wasn't stupid, guess what make you feel even more foolish? Knowing you don't like that formula and deciding to buy it again because you like the name of this collection. This was the Fetish collection, and guess what she did? Gave us 3 more of those highlighters and 3 blushes. The top, left to right is Rose Shock, Magic, and Telepathy. Don't we already got Rose Shock in palette and got her in single? So why would I go out and buy this and get it again? I don't know. And that's why she sits in the Hall of Shame, meaning in the drawer of shame. Guess what else we did? Just blowing money, spending money. But I ain't gonna lie, the world hated this, but I loved it. It was gorgeous for me. The Fetish Palette. To me, this is one of the best packaging. I'm loving that stitch design on there. I know a lot of people don't like big, bulky packaging, but because I have the room to store it, I do. The Fetish Palette, honey. Everybody I know who had this took it back, said they didn't like it, but when I tell you, every time I wore it, I ain't getting nothing but compliments. Everybody loved it, and I love this palette. I ain't gonna lie, she difficult to work with. She is. These shimmers, I felt as if I got a better use out of them with a silicone applicator than a brush. But I like her. I ain't gonna lie. But I don't display her and I don't show nobody her because she was Kvd. And honestly, some of these names in here, we ain't gonna say that out loud. Some more items we got from Kvd that we loved. Back in the day, honey, mirrors used to be a big thing, and we all know one of the biggest sellers of mirrors was Jeffree Star. That boy used to be able to sell more mirrors than everybody. But I used to love this Kvd one because I'm someone who loves writing letters, and this reminds me of the old wax stamps that you can have made for one. I want to see if I can show you this one here. And it sort of even has those stars stitched all the way around, and they're embossed right there because Kvd had those tattoos on her face. So to me, even though I hardly ever use this, it was just so pretty and something I had to have. And I don't use her any longer, but I still have it in the drawer of shame. And I think this is the last item. I don't know if this is the one I want to show you yet. Make sure. Oh, we still got this here. Cream Contour. Where's the other one that goes with this? Because I know it's another one. I can't find it, but I know I have one in the package, one outside of the package. This is the Kvd Cream Contour. I'm not sure what the name of the shade is. Let me see if I can pop her out. In the shade Chocolate. I have one here and a small, this is a portable, I think this is the Trio Z palette here. And the thing is, I bought it with the intentions of using it, but once she went into the drawer of shame, never pulled her out, never got a chance to use it. So I accidentally gouged my nail into it one time, but never got a chance to use it. But my all-time favorite item out of everything that I've ever put in the drawer of shame is my baby, honey. My Kvd Satan Center palette. You can't tell me nothing about it, honey. I think this is truly one of the prettiest palettes that I've ever purchased in my lifetime. I just wanted to make sure which way this opened before I attempt to do so because I do not want to damage it. It has the small tab on it where it opens both ways. Look at that. It was supposed to remind you of the stained glass in the cathedral. There are small mirrors on both sides. I think the packaging on this, the inspiration, the colors, everything about this was absolutely beautiful, and I was so glad that I got one before it sold out. And I'm so glad they dropped this before all of that drama hit, because I promise you, had we have known everything first and then they'd have dropped this, this would have been a battle in my head to keep back. I truly believe I would have skipped over it, but now that I have it, honey, you can't get it from me. And with most of these items, like I said, with the Morphe and the Kvd items, technically I could take them out. I technically could, because a company has the right to switch up their formulas when they want, like Morphe did, and because I'm not someone who's vegan, it's not an issue for me. But to know that I was referring other people to use that, oh, here go that cream contour that I almost forgot. This is a backup of them, because I figured if I liked them, I would have used them. And I just dropped right out of that Morphe conversation. But with that, oh, didn't see these. Kvd got two more items, y'all. One of the easiest ones to find and one of the hardest. The easiest ones. This is the Divine Palette. The Kvd Divine Palette. Bought it simply because it has a green package. Some green colors. You know, greens or blacks are my favorites. So to know I had a shimmery green and a matte black. I really wish it did have a matte green in here, but it didn't. And that pop of blue, because y'all know I don't like blue, so this helped take me out of my comfort zone. But the best part to me was those eyebrows right there in the mirror. Tell me that is not the cutest thing ever. I thought that was so nice that I had to go ahead and get that. And the last thing, which was probably the most difficult and one of the most sought out items in Kvd history, I'm quite sure the Mi Vida Loca probably has a little more, you know, stands than this one. But if you missed out on the Pastel Goth, honey, I don't even do pastel colors. I despise pastel colors. But because of how hyped and how desired this was, had to get me one. Just to say I got it. I had to get one before it was sold out, honey. And I'm glad to say that I do. But I think I used my friends before. But looking at this one here, she's never been used, never been swatched. I know what the formula is like, but I don't know what this particular one in my collection is like. And now I can get back to what I was saying, because although I was mad at Morphe, they do have the right to switch their formulas. I'm not someone who's vegan or worries about being vegan or cruelty-free, because I even use natural hair brushes. But it's hurt to know that when I referred my cousin who does practice a vegan lifestyle, that she purchased and used that under the beliefs that it was vegan. And so that was something that was like, I'm glad, you know, she caught on and recognized it after the second use and let me know. But then by the time I went online and looked it up and realized the beauty community was talking about it, it was like, Morphe. So right now, they're going to sit in there a little bit longer, but eventually I'm going to get over it. With Kvd no longer being part of the brand, I can technically pull all these things out. But I'm somebody who usually tries to use things that I know you all can get a hold of. And baby, it'll be nothing for me to put these things down, start using them all over again like they never left. And then y'all can't find them, but Lime Crime, as long as I believe Doe Deer is still there, we're not buying no more, we're not using no more. Jeffrey, he ain't acting right, so he gonna go back. Laura Lee, I ain't checked or heard on her yet or lately, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. We're gonna go back because I already know, Lord knows how many palettes she done released, and I might get up on it because the formula of that one was okay. But I hope you all like this video. Once again, it's not that I hate the brands or anything like that. It's just I personally try to just show off brands that I believe are doing ethical things, are doing nice things. And with us having such a large variety of makeup out there in the world, we don't generally have to settle for anything, whether that be price, whether that be shade range, whether that be formula. And with these companies, I'm just going to hope and pray they act a little better. And if they ever do, maybe we'll come back. But I'm not getting rid of my makeup. And since I can't use none of this stuff, it's all about to get scooped up and put back in that drawer. And I ain't gonna lie, when I took it out, it was all stacked all nice and pretty and all that. But this stuff is about to just get stacked in there because I got a busy work week ahead of me, and you know I love my sleep, honey. You think I love makeup, honey? I like makeup. I love my sleep, but I wanted to make sure I got this video out for you all. So anybody who did request this video, I wanted to make sure I got it out for you. Normally, I would say if you have something you want a tutorial on, I could do that, but if you want a tutorial on anything that's Kvd or Morphe, I can get it going for you. All the other brands, y'all gonna have to just sit back and wait for it. But with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube.